Taj Burrow and Josh Kerr are less than 2 weeks away from the second contest of the 2014 World Tour. For Burrow, being back at home allows him to get his preparations fine-tuned ahead of the first ever World Tour contest on home territory.
I'm definitely kind of using this time as a bit of downtime and just kind of recharge, you know. By the time Margaret's comes around, I'm going to be, you know, raring to go again.
For Kerr, his desire to win is only too evident, but he must apply his incredible talent if he's to clinch his first ever World Tour event title. His preparations are affected with a hectic lifestyle and family activities. As the surfers look forward to stop number 2 of the World Tour, this is their story. In Coolangatta, 12-year-old Colin Kerr is out indulging in his new favorite activity, taking photos of stepfather Josh during free surf sessions.
I got into photography from shooting my sister skateboarding, and it just was like one day, oh, it'd be kind of cool to shoot Josh. And then I went out one day and it was like, I just loved it from there.
Despite only shooting for a short amount of time, a photo from Colin's first session with Josh has already appeared in renowned surf magazine Stab.
You even got so lucky though. Tell them why, because you weren't even shooting on sequence mode.
Oh yeah, I wasn't shooting on sequence mode, and I just had to go doot, 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 doot. My finger was hurting so bad after that. And he was like, it wouldn't, I didn't know how to fix it off because it was like my first day shooting. I was like, oh, this might be a pretty cool photo. And Josh was like, oh, this is so sick, I'm so putting this on Instagram. And then like 20 minutes later, Stab
told me to take it down because they wanted to use it because they thought it was a cool little story of Colin taking the photo. And then I just told you yesterday that you're going to get what?
Oh, I'm getting paid for it, which is even way better.
From these first 2 sessions of shooting photos ever, he's already gotten published and gotten followers and gotten paid. It's going to be a pretty hard career to live up to after that one, I reckon. I mean, family is everything to me. That comes first before surfing, before career. But then again, they also motivate me in my career and my surfing to succeed, you know, to support your family, to give your all so you can, you know, make your family proud.
Kerr's support system from his family was a crucial part of the long journey to where he is today. After qualifying for the Elite World Tour at the end of 2006, Kerr would face a steep learning curve in his rookie season.
I had a new family, had my daughter just born that year as well, and there was a lot going on. I don't know if I was mentally prepared for the way the tour life was meant to be at that stage. I didn't have that level-headedness to actually just deal with like the ups and downs of tour life and how long the whole year can be. By the end of that year, I was like, well, I don't think the tour is for me.
The route to requalification was a long one for Kerr, plagued with injuries and some bad luck along the way. However, once he found himself back amongst the world's best, he's not looked back, and now finds himself consistently amongst the top 10 surfers in the world.
You just can't give up. Like, everyone's surfing their best in the 30s now, and like, you just got to keep pushing yourself. You got to keep raising your own bar over and over and over and over again. I wouldn't change anything about those years falling on and off tour. It made me who I am today, and maybe a stronger person, a better father, a better husband, and yeah, it made me mature a lot as well, and I look back and I'm like, I wouldn't change a thing about it all.
Taj Burrow is back home in Yallingup, Western Australia. With the upcoming event at Margaret River taking place locally, Burrow has the rare opportunity to prepare for a World Tour event in familiar surroundings.
This place is so special to me. It's incredible to be home. Every time I get, you know, any kind of window between events or any kind of travel, I just bolt straight home. And yeah, lucky enough, I'm here for the contest, so it feels pretty good. Just being home is it's just so recharging, and it just feels amazing. I couldn't be happier about it. I just feel so comfortable in this area, and it's such a wild, raw bit of coastline. I really love it. Like when winter comes and it just gets wild and woolly outside, that's kind of some of my favourite times. I love it when it's just thumping seas and wild weather, and the place is just getting ripped to pieces. It's just, I just stare at the ocean all day. I love it.
With time ticking down to the start of the contest, Burrow's heading out to get reacquainted with the numerous waves the region has to offer.
Basically in the morning, generally I just surf straight out the front of my house if I can. But if the waves are a bit better than expected, I'll go on a bit of a mission. So I want to try boards and yeah, just keep active and healthy, and get excited to surf a heat, basically. It's pretty serious when you go on a surf mission around these parts. You do it a lot of time on the road and a lot of time on four-wheel drive tracks. We often say between the boys, it's like called the Cape to Cape tour. Sometimes you just hunt up and down this stretch for just hours.
For Burrow, getting dialed back into the intricacies and unique challenges presented by the local waves is a key factor in his preparations for the upcoming event.
A lot of the waves here are so difficult to surf. The reef breaks are unpredictable and chunky, and there's a lot of power, and it's so opposite to say somewhere like the East Coast and the Gold Coast especially, where it's just so user-friendly and playful.
With the Margaret River Pro commencing in a little over a week's time, the big question for Burrow is, can he convert the comfort levels of being at home into a win?
Now going into Margaret's, I feel great. I'm at home and I got my home crowd. I get to sleep in my own bed, and I've won the event and had heaps of seconds out there. So I do take that as a bit of confidence for sure. I've always been jealous of Joel and Mick having this event in their backyard, and now I get to do the same. So I'm pretty happy with that.
With a day left before leaving the Gold Coast, Josh Kerr is on a tight schedule to try and film footage for his upcoming surf movie, due for release later in the year.
Obviously the only timing you get is between events to get some clips, and it's definitely a focus, and then it can take away from other focuses like preparing for the next event.
Though there are a few good waves from the session, it's unlikely they'll make the final cut. In the highly competitive world of surf movies, Kerr knows that only the very best clips will suffice.
It's really hard to make your movie stand out when you got the guys like Geordie and John. They just surf insane, and they're just great surfers, and they're going for it. To make your movie stand out in amongst those guys, you can't just put out a straightforward high-performance surf vid like they will. You know, I'm going into my 30s, this will probably be my last profile movie, I'd say.
Kerr's last profile movie, Crazy Chronicles, received high acclaim from surf fans and media alike, and would land Kerr the honor of Best Performance at the 2011 Surfer Poll Awards. However, this year's follow-up will deviate from the regular surf movie formula.
It's going to be a bit more in-depth, tell a bit more about my life in general, and get other people's points of view of myself and who I was and who I am today. And a little different to anything I've done in the past, especially when you're kind of digging into your own life. It's a bit scary.
Today, Kerr's organized for an interview to be filmed for the movie. However, he's been finding it hard to lock people down.
Now I'm dealing with trying to get a bunch of the boys for the interviews and all that. Now I kind of know a filmer's frustration with me when I try and put off all interviews and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, but yeah, it's kind of, everyone's you text them yeah, we'll do it, and then you try and lock down a time oh yeah, maybe it'll work then, maybe. Everyone's so vague.
Today's interview is with childhood friends Dean and Sean Harrington.
Might be a few beeps, beep, beep.
That's the whole thing, just beep.
Has his interview, just a big long beep.
When we're doing these interviews and that, I don't sit in on them. Having other people talk about you and what they have to say is always interesting.
No, he's hilarious. He's always late, whatever he does. Playing Josh Kerr, gate 33.
It's always funny to hear what people have to say, and then you kind of realise, yeah, geez, that was what I was like back then, wasn't it?
Just surf all day and then just party like all night and just was fucking funniest days ever. Till the time he's... Oh, you can't even say it, though. You can't use that. Yeah, you can't, can you? Not really.
Thanks for letting us take over your program.
No worries, mate. Just now I've got to clean up the mess.
Just gonna go visit the folks. I'm embarrassed I'm actually driving. My parents live that close to my house. They live about 500 metres away and I just drove down here. I mean, I don't get them to do my washing or anything, but I do pop down for the occasional meal. My parents eat really well, so it's good to swoop in and say g'day.
With the world tour making its next stop in his hometown, Taj Burrow has some time to catch up with his parents. His dad, Vance, has just returned home from a surf trip to the Maldives.
Yeah, head high to a couple of sets were maybe two feet overhead.
Was that session great?
It was dreamy. No, there for a while. It was like 4 of us, then 3 of us. And then this charter boat came up and dropped off these 7 French guys. And they just charged straight inside, just so aggressive, you know, we're just going, oh, here we go. But there was a little bit of a current, and it kept pulling them off the spot, and they didn't even matter, you know.
Yes.
It was unreal. The best surfing I've had since the last time I was there.
Yeah, right.
I just felt so free, you know. It's just,
Good work.
oh, I wish I could do that more often.
My parents, they're just really happy, easygoing people. All they really care about is like, you know, being near the beach and being in the ocean every day and kind of being healthy and looking after themselves.
Vance and Nancy Burrow grew up in San Diego, California in the 60s. However, the lure of better waves in Australia would see them eventually settle down on the southwest coast.
They just love to surf and they kind of just love to live the simple life, and they didn't have a cent to their name. They actually had $10 between them when they moved to Perth, and they just started from scratch.
Yeah, we grew up in that kind of hippie era, you know, 60s and early 70s. And we didn't have very much money, but down here we were millionaires in waves, you know. It was incredible, you know. It was just such a clean, unpolluted, unpopulated place. Because that's why we left California. It was getting too overpopulated and overpolluted.
The pair got by on Vance's income as a musician to allow them to live their dream of surfing Western Australia's perfect waves. But when son Taj was born, there would be some friction about who'd have to stay on the beach and look after their newborn child.
Nancy and I'd try to take turns, you know, looking after him while he's on the beach. And quite often I'd come in just as the sea breeze would come in, and Nancy would get, you know, sort of the bad end of the deal. And I apologize for that.
I'm an only child, so I obviously became really close with my parents. I'd surf with them before and after school every day, but you kind of get thrown in the deep end pretty quick as a kid. You have to learn how to surf some pretty serious waves. They're all short, intense reef breaks.
When Taj was like 6 or 7 years old, he was paddling out this one time, and this big set came through and broke in front of him. And he didn't freak out. He just stayed on his board with his head down, caught the wave backwards. The spins caught and spun around, and he jumped up and started riding it to the beach. And Nancy and I just looked at each other and went, whoa, did you see that? And that's when we knew there was something special, you know?
Burrow's early years cultivating his skills along the many breaks in Western Australia would lead to one of the most celebrated careers in professional surfing history. Now in his 17th year on tour, the support from his parents as a youngster has proved to be a priceless factor to Burrow's success.
They supported me so well through my junior years of surfing. They just said, look, whatever you do, just make sure you're having fun. You know, we don't care if you win or lose, just make sure you have fun. They weren't pushy one bit, and they've been there since day one, so it's been pretty cool.
It's not too long to the second contest on the 2014 calendar, the drug-aware Margaret River Pro, as the surfers enter the final stages of preparation. For Burrow, will his bid toward a late career maiden world title continue apace? Can he add crucial ranking points to an already impressive start to the 2014 tour?
You just want to make sure you're rested up and recharged, but also you've done all the right things in that little window just set you up for the next event.
For Kerr, a whirlwind schedule between his childhood home of the Gold Coast and his new quarters in California together with family commitments, is the reality of his life between major contests.
Going to be in the States for about 6 days, 7 days. Hopefully my body's ready for some waves after all the traveling.
As the days pass and the start date of the Drug-Aware Pro looms up, the surfers seek to take the right measures to be ready, to fine-tune their game plans. Only by being 100% ready will they be capable of mounting a legitimate challenge.